Hi everyone.
Good morning.
How have you been this week?
It's been an up and a down one.
Yeah.
This weather's not helping.
Yeah. My husband, Justin, his coworker the other day was like, well, the gray has begun. The gray has descended. It's like, yeah, wintertime, it gets cold and it just tends to be a lot of gray sky. So I don't love that either myself. And it's gotten really cold.
Yeah. Well, and I closed off. I was at least getting when we did get sun during the day. I would pull back my
Yeah.
curtain, and now I have like a
Thermal layer.
thermal layer there. So it's black on my
Mm-hmm.
side, so it's especially dark. But
Well,
thankfully Romeo drags me outside.
yep. Thankfully, the crazy cat gives the crazy cat lady sunshine. Uh, yeah, it's been a long week, but a good week for us. It's been, um,
Light is like
it's the window light that's doing it. Can shift a little more and more now. But now you see my painter table. So about no, let's be honest, almost a year ago now, I decided I figured out a vision of what I wanted to do for not our next remodel, but our someday remodel, which will be in the master bedroom slash converting the current laundry room into a master bath. And so I got out painter's tape and I marked the walls and then with Sharpie between the painter's tape to like visualize. And so there's like a giant on the laundry room wall side, there's like door written. My husband's like, so honey, we're not gonna have money to do this for like 5 years. All right.
okay.
And so
We're just sitting with it in the
we're just
meantime.
sitting with it, yeah. So
It's weird because I don't even really notice it anymore.
yeah, it's
It's
just
become part of
part
the
of the aesthetic.
landscape.
Yes. So speaking of the great gray, well, before we dive in to what we want to talk about this morning, my name is Katie. I am the daughter part of the duo, and this is
I'm Patty, and I'm the mother of the mother daughter duo.
that's right, and we are the Rustic Girls. So join us, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and pull up a chair and join us for a chat. This morning, we thought we would talk about finding the light in winter. So, as the seasons
Literally.
change, literally,
And figuratively.
figuratively, metaphorically, spiritually, any ali that you can think of, because it does. You head into the holidays, and I think you've got a lot happening, right? So the holidays is this very happy time, but for anyone who's lost someone, it's also a very hard time. It's a time of, my friend said it the other day really well. She said, um, we were talking on Thanksgiving, and I was asking me like, oh, what like was a favorite thing you did do on Thanksgiving, and I was like, we don't really like Thanksgiving wasn't a huge holiday in our family. We ate the food. We had like that was probably the main thing was like there's certain foods we eat every year, and we have good memories around Thanksgiving, but it's not this iconic holiday for
It's
us.
like the prelude.
The prelude, yeah, Christmas was the big deal in our family, and but it just like hit me really hard. And I was talking about afterwards, and she goes, I think it's not so much about the holiday; it's that the holidays are all about family, and it's not that you spent every holiday with that person because we hadn't in recent years. She said, but it's about that you can't spend another holiday with them.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it so hard. And I was like, I think that's a really good way of putting it. So I think for you have the holidays, and for some of us, it's super joyful, and for some of us, it's a really challenging season, a mix of joy and good and family and happy memories, and also a lot of really sad ones. But then you get through the holidays, and all the sparkle goes away, and we're left with just I like to call it the doldrums in January. It's gray, the literally there's less daylight, and so it's kind of how do we keep those like winter blues at bay. So as we chat, I'd like love for you guys to share your thoughts in the comments of just how do you fight that. And so kind of we thought, well, first there's like the very literal, there's the literally there's less daylight, how do we combat that? And I think that one of the best ways to do it is if you can, like you said, you can't, You used to always open the windows up and get
Mm-hmm.
the light in. You can't.
Let the light, even if there's not sunshine, just that
Let
light.
the natural light in. So yeah, open those blinds in the morning, especially in the morning. Just start your day off with some daylight. And if there's sunlight, get out there and soak it up. Try to take a little short walk. I know it's cold, bundle up, but even a short walk, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is so restorative. You know, having that time outdoors in that fresh air, in the daylight, whatever it looks like, is a big way, I think, to combat that. If you are not getting enough daylight, I think another thing we've employed a lot, you know, we joke, but it's serious, kind of true, is that most of Western Washington has SAD, seasonal affective depression, just because there's just not enough sunshine. And when I lived there, Happy Lamp. So there's artificial light bulbs that will help with that deficiency. So I think that that's another great option.
Sitting under that,
bring that in.
Also, adding like a D3 supplement and into those winter months when you really can't. I mean, natural sunlight. I mean, I think
yeah,
God provides best what we need, and but when you can't get that, when that's not available to you,
yeah,
adding that supplement. I know, that for me, I was just thinking about that little trip over my tongue. This time last year, I was in sunshine, and so I pulled out my D3 because I was like, I haven't really taken that. I took it really faithfully, and when we were in Washington, and just get it back into my chemistry.
Your body needs it and it gets deficient of it so quickly. I realize I feel naked. My eyes look small. Everything's a little fuzzy. I don't have my glasses on.
Oh.
I'm not honestly not even sure where they are. I realized last night I didn't have them on, but then I didn't feel like looking for them.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
I wouldn't even be able to.
I know. I'm at that point of blindness where, like, it just makes my eyes hurt after a little bit, but I can get away with it. And so, yeah, I'm not at the stage yet where it's not no longer an option to just function without your glasses. So, anyway, I look weird to myself. So yeah, there's I think, your diet, especially during the holidays, it's a lot of sweets, a lot of really heavy things, and physically that weighs this down, which doesn't help. It compounds the situation. So I think just being really intentional, even through the holidays, we're not there yet. So it's like, even through the holidays, make sure it's worth it.
Right.
Don't eat the cheapo kid candy. Like, save it for the really good primo stuff. I love the Costco, the dark chocolate dipped, like, thin pretzels. Chef's kiss. So good. I would save my calories for that. Like, I would save my treat for that. So I think just being intentional about it, still indulging and still enjoying, but, and then after the holidays, just focus on eating really healthy.
And I think the same is true with alcohol. Through the holidays, a lot of parties,
more opportunities to drink. Yeah.
And if you're struggling with being down already, it's easy
it's a downer.
It's a downer. And so just being wise with that, because that's just going to contribute to it.
Feeling weighed down. And so, yeah, I think physically, like, it's about, enjoying daylight and sunshine and supplementing with artificial light or vitamin D, taking care of your body. And then, I think when you go to the emotional side of things, it's, being intentional about where you're at, being in tune to your body. As we go through the holidays, not overcommitting. As we get on the other side, not undercommitting. So I think reaching out, having certain people, like, there's people who are cup fillers and there's people who are cup drainers. And I think being intentional about knowing who your cup fillers are and reaching out to them regularly, maybe not daily, but maybe it's, twice a week. I'm going to text that friend, or I'm going to call that person, if you're not a millennial, because millennials, we don't do phone calls. But like, make connection points so that you still have that, because especially after the holidays, there's all the things to go to, all the invites, all the parties.
And then it all stops.
And you're left by yourself relatively, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so I think being intentional about building community in through the winter, because you've still got several more months, depending on what's his name? Phil? Is it Phil? The groundhog?
Oh, Pucks. Yeah,
Puxatawny Phil, right?
Pucks. I think
I think so.
something about that sounds right, but something doesn't sound quite Puxatawny. I think it
Correct
is.
me if I'm wrong. But as he
Anyway,
says, depending on what he says, we've still got months though. So,
yes.
being intentional about finding community. Um, and if you don't specifically have friends, it's like, I think in person is the best. For devices is, still good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that and you need like people like us, like reach out to us, build that community. Um, you know, all great ways to just make sure you're not just down by yourself.
Well, and I think too, you touched on it with the all the sparkle is gone. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we we pour into all the decor and, making everything lit up and sparkly and pretty. And then there's uh you strip that away, right? And everything just feels like that much drabber.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody, cashier yesterday, and she was talking about, because there's a possibility of snow
Yeah.
and how she's like super excited. And I was like, really? And she's like, well, it like covers everything in my yard, makes it look all pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was like, yeah, there is that. But
Yeah.
then it goes away and then everything looks just that much more dead and worse than it was. And so I think all that to say, I think having something, um, as you strip away the old, having something new to replace it,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be, you treat yourself to, a new table runner
Mm-hmm.
or fresh flowers. Um, and for me, like the beginning of the year, I always look forward to that new calendar. And there's that tendency, well, there's the necessity when you're in the throes of life.
Yeah.
For me, I'm saving it because for me that's going to be my treat for the new year for January is to sit down with that fresh calendar
Mm-hmm.
and start filling it up and
Mm-hmm.
start making plans, and setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a great way to help fill those hours
Yeah.
of the doldrum hours. Thinking ahead, a lot of people use that as their garden planning time. They sit
Mm-hmm.
down and order all their seeds, and so finding something for you. Maybe it's your travel season if you're a camper. um,
Yeah. I agree. I think, yeah, figure out what that thing is that's gonna, be something
look
to look forward
forward
to.
to. Mm-hmm.
And vision casting. I think, so many we've I think as a culture shifted somewhat away from just the New Year's resolutions, but not totally.
Mm-hmm.
But like setting goals, but then the goal is just the goal is just like the goal is just like a dream with steps basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
Feet to
so
it, yeah.
yeah, you put feet to it. So I think about what you want from this year as a whole, and start thinking like, okay, well that's my goal for the year, right? To accomplish this thing, or to have built more community or whatever. And then think about like what are actionable steps, like break it down to things you can look forward to and work towards each month. It's really good ways. I think that another important aspect is things like journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking this time, I think the opportunity when everything's kind of in hibernation, you've got the trees and stuff, and it's so interesting because some of them have buds already. They're just tiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I think, a really good reflection of what we should be doing. Like just because it's cold and it looks dead doesn't mean it's not
No,
still working. It's not still growing on the
there's
inside.
life happening on the inside.
Yeah, just waiting for spring to
Mm-hmm.
pop forth. And so that's that opportunity to, I think, be reflective on what you've been through, what you're going through, and what you're working towards. For us, being people of faith, it's going to be, just spending more time with the Lord, praying, reading our scripture, worshiping, um, because the God of the summer is still the God of the winter, and He's still just as good. And so, focusing on Him is a really great way to um, not focus on the doldrums.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think, you're also looking towards it's perspective. So if I'm focusing on myself and I'm like, oh, it's cold, I'm sad, I'm miserable, I don't have this, I can't
Mm-hmm.
do this. It's all very self negative and it's very just draining. And it's so much when you shift that focus outward. And so being intentional about thinking about other people. So we, mentioned in the beginning, like, reaching out to someone who's your cup filler, but maybe think about someone who's, who has an empty cup. And how can I bless them,
Mm-hmm.
by reaching out to them or sending a little card in the mail, because all we get in the mail is bills these days, right?
It's always nice to get handwritten notes, letters.
It's such a way to brighten your day. You're like, oh, yay. And so I think if you can find a way, I mean, through the holidays, that's the crazy thing. Through the holidays, donations to food banks and stuff goes through the roof. They have to turn volunteers away. January hits,
Yeah.
it all falls off. And they still need help.
Mm-hmm.
They still need food. They still need people to come serve. Um, so look at your local charities and organizations. Maybe there's somewhere you could volunteer that fits your passions, that you could love and support someone else. And that's one of the fastest ways to like turn your frown upside down, is to help someone else do the same. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just leaning into
Mm-hmm.
building yourself up. You just have to be a little more intentional. I think
Mm-hmm.
that some of the opportunities we have in summer are easy ways to fill our cup. I mean, if you live somewhere sunny, you just have to be outside and you're drowning in it. And when it comes to winter, I think it's a time to be reflective and to be intentional, um, to
Well,
kind of help keep it away.
I think also going back to your surroundings, because we move indoors. Other little things you can do, just to brighten your spirits. I touched on fresh flowers,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a fresh candle.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I hate it.
I lost my thought. I was going somewhere. Jumped the track.
That happens all too often.
But yeah, just feel like I feel like I like got a hair or something on my cup. I know it feels like it's like stuck. It's driving me nuts. Um, but just little things that are going to fill your cup. Um, the important thing is just not sitting in your surroundings and
Stagnating. Yeah.
Little things that are going to move you forward, but little things that also will fill you up. Maybe treat yourself new bubble bath or new bath
Mm-hmm.
salts, and give yourself that. It's going to warm you up. A new tea,
Mm-hmm.
um,
New fuzzy
and a
blanket.
fuzzy blanket. Um, yeah, little things that are gonna bring you comfort and they're gonna make you happy,
Mm-hmm.
bring
And
you
what
joy.
sparks you joy.
Yeah, little things to make you joyful,
Yeah.
to bring you joy.
One thing too I love to do, and I feel like it just improves the mood of my family, is when I get up in the morning, I've turned our TV into using Kindle, or not the Kindle, the
Fire
Fire
stick.
Stick. Turned my TV into a digital picture frame, and so, especially being in a season of loss for our family, I turn that on every day, and or not every day, but the days I do it, it's marked improvement, which is most days. But I turn that on, and then I get some music playing through the speakers, just softly. So right now it's Christmas music, but at other times it's been worship music, or we have like a home playlist, which is a lot of classical or instrumental. And just having that little bit of noise, and for us having that little bit of like, it's fun to walk
Something for
through and
your
see
eyes to fall on.
pictures. Yeah, that's just peaceful and restful. And we sit, sometimes we'll just sit and look at them and talk. And
Well, and I
um,
think it's a reminder of what you have.
mhm,
You
yeah.
know, the the blessings in our life that
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes you take for granted that you're
Yeah.
surrounded with it. But I think about photos is they really remind you of the longevity. It's
Mm-hmm.
your history and the people, because sometimes when you're separated from those
Mm-hmm.
people, it's not that you forget them, but
There's less of a connection.
you
You
don't
feel it
feel that
less.
connection as close. But and I think photos, when I get mine figured out, I'll have that too. Ironically, I
You had the fire
she
stick
got me
first.
set up with a fire
I was
stick
like, oh,
first
that's
for
cool. You
that
can do that.
purpose, and I have not been able to figure out. I don't know. Anyways,
That's today's task. But yeah, so I think just, be intentional about building community and connecting with others. I think as we move forward into the new year, it's exciting, and we're going to probably talk about that in the next couple weeks.
mm-hmm.
It's just being intentional about moving forward into the new year with our goals. And so for me, kind of like you said, with sitting down on the calendar as a treat, for me, just that, like, let's start to think and start to mull as I finish. I think I'm done Christmas shopping, and my husband is wrapping up today, and so my brain kind of doesn't need that capacity anymore. It starts to shift as I finish the Christmas stuff. It starts rolling to, what do I want from this new year? What are my goals? Where's the Lord leading me? How do I see myself serving? And I just start mulling it. And then after Christmas, I get to sit down and start really, like, fleshing out, like, what does this next year hold? What's my, like, for us, it's word. What's a word the Lord's given me for this year?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like? How do I live that out? And um, so I think as we move forward, there's going to be a lot more, conversations about that, about how we can just be intentional so that time doesn't drift by.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get to the point where in your life you look back and you don't really know where you are, how you got here, and, like, you don't have those memories. I think it's
Well, and I think that's one of the things that can compound things for you when like those doldrums hit, is you realize, wow, a whole year has just came and went. It's the start of
what
a
have I
new
done?
year, and
Yeah,
like where did the time go? What do I
yeah,
have to show for it? So it's good to take that time for reflection
yeah.
and for
How did this year go?
planning
Yeah,
what you want to be
yeah.
different in this. You don't like
Mm-hmm.
how this last year went. Okay, what are some steps I
Yeah,
can take now to start putting in motion
yeah,
so this year goes a little more with intention?
yeah. Um, excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, my coffee is fighting back this morning. Um,
I have
so,
regrets that I put my lid on,
mm,
because it's like I'm having it lasts longer when I go outside, but I'm having a hard time sipping it because it's so hot. But I'm afraid to bump the. I keep looking at it, going,
oh, it's a pop off, not a
can
twist.
I get this off without dumping coffee all over?
It could be entertaining either way. So, which helps with those winter doldrums. Uh, yeah. So I'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear from you guys. Kind of, what do you do? How do you combat the, winter doldrums? How do you bring light in to your life? Both, all the alleys, right? Literally, metaphorically, spiritually, whatever. Um, how do you kind of combat the winter blues, and what is maybe something you're looking forward to through this holiday season? I think, for us and our family, it's just being together, um, because it's shifted.
Mm-hmm.
It's shifted. I think when you've experienced loss, it shifts your focus a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of what matters and what doesn't, and it's not from a place of, now I'm superior because I understand that it's not about commercialism, because I always knew, like, it's not
Right.
about the stuff, but and there's nothing wrong with the stuff. I think it just, maybe it just makes you realize how much more sweeter the people are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for us, probably as a family, it's just going to be that time together, just trying to soak up the memories and the love, and um, yeah. So anyway, we look forward to hearing from you guys, and
Absolutely.
we'll see you again next week. Once again, we're looking forward to when we hit 50 subscribers, we'll be able to actually go live. But until then,
Yay.
we will chat with you guys every week, post live. And
So if this has been helpful to you, share it. We'd love that.
yes,
Because that's
please.
going to help us get there.
Yep.
And subscribe if you haven't.
Like and subscribe. I can talk, guys. Yes. Because we're excited to do this and connect with you guys. And yeah, so I hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye,
Bye,
friends.
friends.